Former State Protocol Chief Bruce Koloane has admitted that he unduly used former President Jacob Zuma's name to put pressure on officials to clear the landing of the Gupta plane at the Waterkloof Airforce base back in 2013. Now, testifying at the State Capture Commission, Koloane also conceded that he may have lied just this Monday when he denied using the names of the President and the Minister of Defense to facilitate that landing. Koloane has been implicated by several witnesses as the key figure behind the landing. For more, let's cross on over to our reporter Manqoba Mchunu, who is in Parktown at that state capture inquiry. Manqoba, thank you so much for the time. All things finally come to an end. The truth will kind of set you free, and that is the elements we're getting here out of the inquiry this afternoon.
Well, certainly, Arabile, the former state protocol chief, seemingly having a change of heart today with regard to some of the evidence implicating him in wrongdoing. Of course, you recall that after he had listened to those audio recordings which were given to him by the commission on Monday, of course, in which he's used the former president's name, Jacob Zuma, as well as that of former Transport Minister Ben Martins and Defense Minister Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula to facilitate the landing. A short while ago, of course, the commission playing those audio recordings in which the ambassador can clearly be heard using the names, one of them being a conversation between him and Major Ntshisi, the command post warrant officer at the time, where he's heard using the name of the ministers to put pressure on Ntshisi to clear the landing. Contrary, of course, to his testimony here yesterday, where he had denied ever saying this, but Koloane is singing a different tune today after listening to the recordings. Let's take a listen to what he said on this.
I would like to admit that indeed I did what has now become popularly known as name dropping, and used those sentences merely to push the officials who were supposed to process the flight clearance to do their job, to do the processing. And I also want to go on record, Mr. Chair, that was fundamentally nothing but name dropping. And as it is popularly known nowadays, but that the Minister of Transport, nor the Minister of Defense, nor the President did not at any stage communicate to me that I should in any way deal with this matter as it is expressed. The only time, and as I indicated, where I had interaction with the Minister, Ben Martins, was at the meeting which I made reference to, which was at OR Tambo, where he wanted to solicit our advice together with that of the CEO of AXA, and where we advised that it will not be prudent for the plane to land there, and for the reasons which I've already explained.
Well, of course, Arabile Koloane is still insisting that none of the two ministers, nor the former president, in either their personal capacity or through their offices, had ever instructed or interfered in any way with the processing of that Gupta landing. In fact, Koloane conceding with the evidence leader, Advocate Thandi Norman, today that he may have misrepresented some facts regarding his testimony here on Monday, or as the evidence leader puts it, possibly even lied about this. Let's hear that interaction.
You want the chairperson to believe that as of yesterday, before you listened to the recording, you did not know, could not recollect that you did name drop.
Yes, I did not recollect all the things, that's why, and also if I was speaking with certainty, I would have responded accordingly. But like I said, this event happened more than 6 years ago, the incident, and I tried to put it behind me for a number of reasons, particularly related to my family, and that's why some of the facts related to that are not as vivid to me as they may be to you, madam.
So, if then yesterday, your answer to you having used the name of Mr. Ben Martins, the Minister of Military and Defense, and the President. So if your answer to that question was no, you did not say so, that would have been a lie.
Yes, it would have been a misrepresentation, and again, because I did not have a recollection of the words that were actually there.
Well, Arabile Koloane also admitting that he did abuse the power of his office by putting pressure on defense officials to clear the Gupta landing, conceding, of course, to the findings of the investigation by the security cluster. But, of course, the question on everyone's mind is why did he do it? A question that the chair has also probed further. Let's hear their interaction on this.
What was in it for you in this whole thing? Why would you resort to untruthfully mentioning certain people's names in order to put pressure on officials about something that really had nothing to do other than that you have done your part by passing on the request to the Department of Defense? Why couldn't you simply say to whoever may have been putting pressure on you to say the Defense Department is not dealing with these things expeditiously? Why was it not enough for you to say, look, I have no control of on their processes. We have done our part, and all I can say is ask them to please attend to it expeditiously. More than that, I can't do.
Well, Chair, to answer the first part, there was nothing in it for me at all. Two, why did I push? I mean, I indicated when I started my testimony that one of my core responsibilities was servicing strategic bilateral relations with all the diplomatic missions in South Africa. And India being one of the strategic countries in that we are part of IBSA together, part of BRICS together as well, I think I had an interest to appease him. And besides, we had also built a personal relationship over time because I was interacting with all the ambassadors, whether on their national days or sometimes just for lunches and things like that. So that really was fundamentally the reason why I wanted to, I think, to appear to him to be the most effective guy who can make things happen. And again, I admit, without any reservations, that it was a wrongful act on my side.
Well, of course, Arabile, he also admitted to the fact that 6 years later, he has still not actually apologized to any of the affected principals, that being the former transport minister as well as the defense minister and the president, to actually apologize for his involvement or for even using their names to try and secure that landing. But of course, he says that this is something that he will look into, and he's hoping to write a letter to those officials to actually apologize for his role or for using their names to get that plane to land at Waterkloof. But he's expected, of course, to finish his testimony not long from now, as the judge is just clearly asking some questions that, for clarity's sake, from Koloane as he concludes his testimony here today.
Manqoba Mchunu joining us live from Parktown out at that inquiry into the state capture there. Appreciate your time this afternoon, giving us a rollout, really clearly the truth setting you free there. We'll take a look at the African markets and how things are faring across the continent right after the short break. Do stay tuned to Market Sense right here on Point.